Good morning, everyone. It's a real privilege for me to moderate this panel today. Thank you, Your Excellencies and the esteemed panelists, to be here with us this morning to really walk us through one of the most exciting journey that Saudi Arabia is taking to develop the national economy, which is fintech. We'll explore how Saudi Arabia is actually taking the lead in becoming a global fintech hub, and we'll do this with our esteemed panelists. I'm honored to introduce the leading force at the front of the financial sector transformation agenda. And with us, we have Faisal Al-Sharif, Director General of the Financial Sector Development Program.
Good to have you, thank you.
His Excellency Yezid Al-Nafjan, Deputy Governor of Financial Innovation at SAMA, Saudi Central Bank.
Thank you.
His Excellency Abdullah bin غنام, Deputy of Financing and Investment at the Capital Market Authority.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
And Dr. Usama Al-Jamili, Insurance Authority Executive and FinTech Committee Member at the Insurance Authority.
Thank you for having me and wish you a pleasant panel today.
My name is Sirena Sebastiani. I lead Future Finance and Digital Asset at PwC in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia is making substantial progress in fintech innovation, particularly in areas such as capital market, blockchain, insurance, payments. So we are really creating opportunities for national, so locally nurtured, but also international fintech to come and work in Saudi Arabia and play in a very sustainable ecosystem. So let's discuss maybe the national strategies. Let's start to look at the national strategies that Saudi Arabia has put in place to actually create a very sustainable ecosystem for fintech to play in. And we know that the financial sector development program, the FSDP, was launched in 2018 with a mission to make a difference in the financial industry in Saudi Arabia. For those who don't know the financial sector development program very well, it's composed by 4 pillars: capital markets, private sector growth, financial planning, and finally fintech. With the national fintech strategy that has been launched in 2021, with the main objective effectively to make Saudi Arabia as a global fintech hub and very high in global ranking. Very ambitious objectives, among the others, 525 fintech by 2030. So the Director General, Mr. Sharif, what are the main initiatives that the FSDP is actually putting in place to achieve these results? What are the main results that have been achieved so far?
Assalamu alaikum, bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good morning, everyone. I'll start with speaking about what is the Financial Sector Development Program, and I'm joined here by my colleagues at the regulatory bodies within the Saudi Arabian financial ecosystem. So the Financial Sector Development Program was announced, as you have clearly mentioned, in 2018 with 3 main targets. One is enabling financial institutions to support the private growth. The second was deepening debt capital markets, and the third being the financial saving as well as the financial well-being and planning. In between those 3 main pillars, fintech was within the core of each. I remember when I joined the program and when we announced, our non-cash transactions was around 18%. Today, as His Excellency the Minister have announced yesterday, we're at 70%. Last year, we're at 62%. A lot of the success has been done within having the perfect ecosystem and by having a strong regulatory body within the central bank and, of course, our colleagues in the other. However, as you have clearly mentioned, fast forward in 2020, we had approximately only 3 fintech licensed companies between both regulators back then, the central bank as well as the capital market authority. And we had to pause Sirina, and we said, this does not achieve our targets. Therefore, we started planning the fintech strategy as fourth pillar within the program, which was announced after the Council of Ministers approved it in 2021. Having said that, we have moved from 3 fintechs to approximately plus 200 between 3 regulators. Our aspirations is 525 by 2030. Our KPIs, of course, includes employing more young youth within the Saudi talents in that sector. Of course, fintechs disrupts as well as develops the markets, and financial institutions have to co-op and develop that. Last year, I'll pause, and we have also announced a third regulator being the insurance authority. So we have moved from central bank as well as the capital market authority to moving completely to a sectoral regulatory bodies by introducing the insurance and having the insurtech as well as with them. So the financial sector development program has the 3 regulatory bodies chaired by His Excellency the Minister of Finance, and of course we have the voice of the private sector, Minister of Investment, as well as the Economy and Planning Minister. The ecosystem across that strategy, we have 11 initiatives. Some of them are to empower the youth, learning, upskilling, as well as creating jobs. And of course, we'll do that by introducing more powerful, more tech-savvy companies. And when I say 200, it is fully, completely regulated, and they have passed both labs or the 3 labs within the different regulators. During which, of course, we have a committee that is chaired by the central bank that oversees the fintech and reports to the Financial Sector Development Program Overall Committee. And we see how are we progressing, how are things are progressing, which KPIs need to be amended, which actually KPIs need to be uplifted, and how can we further challenge ourselves with our colleagues.
Thank you very much. I think, we said that from 3 to 82 fintech we have today in only 3 years. This is an amazing journey. So congratulations, and congratulations to the newly established authority, insurance authority as well. Your Excellency, Mr. Al-Nafjan, we know that Sama, if I can still refer to Sama, the Saudi Central Bank.
We are still Sama.
So we know that Sama is one of the main driver of the fintech growth in Saudi Arabia for national fintech, international fintech, really like sustaining the ecosystem. But Sama is also adopting fintech solutions internally, such as SupTech, for example, to really support the supervisory efforts, and is also supporting and enabling, acting as an enabler of fintech companies, for example, with subsidized programs. So I would ask you, how has Sama really transformed the regulatory efforts to achieve this balance between fostering innovation and maintaining financial stability?
So thank you so much, Sirina, and thank you for the great question and great panel. And I just want to follow up on what Faisal said in terms of the FinTech Committee that oversees the national FinTech strategy. One of the biggest achievements is this conference. So it wouldn't have happened without this collaborative work under the umbrella of the FSDP to deliver, and of course in partnership with Tahaluf and FinTech Saudi. So that's the visible things, and then we can talk about the subtech, the internal stuff. So yesterday we've been talking a lot about, we have the sandbox that we're doing to the sector, we have a risk-based supervision, and we have a prudent approach to it. But to achieve this prudent approach to innovation, you have to invest in yourself first, as you correctly said, and with a clear North Star, which is maintaining financial and monetary stability. So our approach to innovation tend to be much more grounded. It starts with understanding what current emerging technologies, current innovative ideas that will help our efforts in delivering on our main objectives, while enabling the sector, right? And we can broadly think of internal innovation is, it's very difficult to ask the sector to be innovative if you're not innovative but yourself, right? But also innovation, we think of it in terms of horizons, right? So you have what we call Horizon 1, innovations that build on existing technologies that are understood in terms of collecting data. So we've done a lot of work in ensuring that the data reported by banks and other regulated entities, it's done in real time, but also we build tools to validate and discover any anomalies and validate the quality of the data and build on it, right? So we work collectively with the banks to improve these kind of things. And that's just one simple use of innovation, in addition to experimenting with existing technologies and discovering what would be the potential for it. Like you said, blockchain technology, right? We have an ambitious central bank digital currency and virtual asset program. While we haven't taken any policy decision yet on it, but the fact that we're building the know-how and we're working with the sector through international collaboration, Enbridge being a prime example, where we have a number of commercial banks that are participating with us, that I think fosters this culture of prudent innovation, a solution-based one, as opposed to chasing trends for the sake of it, right? And then you go to what we call Horizon 2, innovations that are a little bit more experimental, but it might deliver on potential and might support us in being in encouraging innovation again in a prudent way. And I keep on saying the word prudent. People get sick of it, I know, but it is an important and a key word in central banks community, right? So there are off-the-shelf products to help and support in SubTech. However, we need to test them out internally, right? What are the innovative solutions? What kind of large language models you can build? And what kind of capabilities you need to train and to maintain and to ensure that whatever solution you're building, you understand its limitation and understand its potential before applying it at a wider scale. And then you have like what we call the Horizon 3, right? That's the long-term ones. That's where we're talking about technologies that are still in experimental phases, and it's very difficult to reach, but we still need to build the know-how, be ready when it's introduced. For example, quantum computing, right? Quantum computing, we know it's coming. We know it's there. The capabilities are not here yet, but in the span of 5 to 10 years, it will be, I think, much more ubiquitous in the system. And I've used this example before in a different setting, but if you can imagine, once quantum is adopted, you just need a simple LLM with access to quantum computing to break all standard encryptions in the sector and the web and in the overall system. That is very risky, right? That is, I'm not saying it's an imminent risk, but a risk central banks and regulators over the world need to understand and need to respond to it. So we at SAMA, when we talk about innovation, yes, we experiment on AI, on blockchain, on different emerging technologies, but we equally invest in cybersecurity and applying those innovative technologies on cybersecurity and other related, and understanding those emerging risks. We've used it even to improve our stress testing models, whether it's stress testing liquidity, solvency, capitalization, or also stress testing operational capabilities and cyber readiness. So all of this is enabled by innovation. And I don't want to take too much time, but also one last thing, we're also currently finalizing a rulebook project. So we're digitizing the entirety of the rulebook, of SAMA's rulebook, and this will lay the ground for us to apply large language model and policy codification, which will help assist us in improve, number one, increase the efficiency of the supervisory process and become much more timely and responsive by having the ability to monitor the compliance on a continuous basis and spot any potential vulnerability before it explodes, right? So That's just a flavor of what we
Thank
do.
you very much. I think
Thank you.
we are in front of a regulator and of a central bank that really is leading by example. And I want to take just the occasion to thank you all again for the 24th FinTech Conference. The first year, glad to be here, and hopefully the first of many years of celebration
Inshallah.
of success.
Inshallah.
Thank you for reminding us.
No,
that,
thank you, everyone.
Collaboration.
Everyone, the FinTech community made it successful in Saudi.
And maybe Mr. Bin Ganam, if we know that this capital markets is one of the central vertical and one of the main verticals where fintech are really keen to invest, the capital markets and blockchain along with that. What do you see as fintech coming into this space in Saudi Arabia, and what are the main initiatives you're putting in place? But also, most importantly, how do you see the impact that these fintech companies and new technologies such as blockchain are bringing to our legacy capital market?
Thank you, Sirina. It's a very important question. And before we get into assessing the impact of technology and financial technology in the capital market space, let's remind ourselves what does technology and innovation do for capital market. Among so many important things, there are two very important things which are increasing the financing and investment options. Second, enhancing the existing products by reducing cost, increasing the efficiency, and increasing the outreach and financial inclusion. So it is very much fair to say that technology and financial technology serve the very core objectives of capital market. So taking that into consideration, we realize that financial technology is the driving force and the catalyst of modernizing capital markets. So we decided in 2018 to launch the FinTech Lab, aiming at introducing a simplified process that embraces ideas and innovations. It takes into consideration the evolution of having the idea, getting the acceptance from regulators, investing more, bringing more capital into the idea, bringing more people, getting the license, commencing the activities. So that model of friendly adaptation from regulators helped us in granting permits to 58 activities around 7 models. And reflecting on the last 5 years, we can say that it was a game changer in the capital market. And if I give a few examples, if we look at the debt and equity crowdfunding as a mean to finance small and micro businesses, the model raised more than 3.8 billion Saudi riyal, which is in excess of $1 billion over the last 5 years for more than 500 companies. A lot of them were raised in less than a day. And imagine how is that changing the business's ability to raise capital. Another model I personally like, robo-advisory. Before we have it, we had a few thousands of DPM clients, most of which are high net worth and ultra high net worth investors. When we introduced it, it onboarded and got investment from 245,000 clients. Most of them are 35 years old and younger. And of course, they are mostly the mass and probably part of them affluent. So you can tell how life-changing it was for investors and how it is changing the landscape of wealth management. One more example would be the funds distribution, which we introduced also over the last 5 years. And it helped in distributing more than 35 funds, raising 2.6 billion from more than 140,000 investors in alternative asset classes, real estate, private credit, private equity, and venture capital. And these asset classes were not very much accessible for the mass. So it is fair to say that it has been it has a very drastic change on the landscape of the capital market, and it has very good influence. And that's why we are committed to embrace that business line and to help it in unleashing the values and the services of the capital market, and debt equity, asset management, and also in attracting wider range of investors, be it local or international.
Thank you for reminding that trading, asset management, security services, capital market in general are tech-based business. And actually, what technology helps us with is financial inclusion. So opening investment opportunities to mass market, which is very important. Thank you.
Correct.
Just to touch upon something you said very quickly on the FinTech Lab, Saudi Arabia and the CMA has been one of the first countries in the region to launch a FinTech Lab. So it's, again, a success stories and leading by examples. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a success story, and we have a team that we are proud of.
Yes. Dr. Osama Al-Jamili, maybe we look at the newly established insurance authority, and really, like, how do you see the insurance sectors evolving with technology, and what is the role? I mean, you're being a newly established authority. What is the role that the insurance authority is playing in this sector? And if maybe you can mention, because insurance is maybe one of the verticals that people are less knowledgeable about. If you can share with us a couple of success stories that you see in the kingdom.
Thank you, Sirina. First of all, I'm really glad to join my colleagues in the financial sector. Yes, we really we are recently established authority. We look at the success stories you talked about with my colleagues. With the sandbox, we launched our sandbox yesterday. If you have noticed, and we are eager and keen to learn from these success stories within the financial sector, and also to take them to the next level, inshallah. For the role of the insurance authority, first of all, is that enabling the data infrastructure within the ecosystem, because data is everything these days. We have a lot of technologies emerging, like quantum computing, we talked about, and generative AI as well, and that also will enable the accessibility to information of all insurance player. That will enhance penetration and consumer protection as well. This is what we are targeting in developing also our national strategy. Maybe most of you know that the first thing that the authority would like to do is to establish the national insurance strategy that includes the innovation and technology embedded there as enablement. We also look at topics, for example, data science, big data. You may know, most of you know that insurance is a data-intensive business. We also look at opportunities in enabling personalization within the ecosystem. That also goes back to the insurtech ability to personalize products in a real-time basis. Also, we are looking at opportunities, for example, automated underwriting and claim processing, including microinsurance products. And how we are going to do that, I think, first of all, we need to look at the regulatory framework, standardization for everybody to protect the market, and also collaboration with all of the ecosystem regulators to enable the insurance sector, because insurance is working to enable a lot of sectors within the kingdom, whether it's healthcare, motor, real estate, tourism, everything that we are targeting in our Vision 2030. Insurance would be, inshallah, an enabler to these sectors. And also, you talked about examples for insurance. In 1974, I think we had 23 classic insurance companies. Today we have 13 insurtech companies, and we are looking to grow this number exponentially, inshallah, in the coming years.
Thank you. Congrats, first of all, for the sandbox launched yesterday. And you touched upon a very important topic, which is data. So if any in the audience is wearing a Whoop or an iWatch and is worried about how your data are used by insurances, don't worry, because our insurance authority actually look after that.
Thank you, Siri.
Let's maybe look at collaboration, because that's your last word. That was basically collaboration, one of your last words, and you all touched upon these, and I really see the bonding between authorities, which is very important. So maybe Director General, how is the FSDP fostering collaboration between private, public sector, but also among regulators? And you said something interesting earlier, that is really like this committee that look after the various initiatives, and is composed by different members, by the different authorities. So that's also a form of collaboration. Tell us more about it, please.
So maybe I'll start by rephrasing what Yazid has said when he said enabling this sector came from the private sector. I think the contribution, Sirina, is just in front of us. If you look to the back, there is more than half a kilometer of fintech booths all over the world. And yesterday at a private dinner, we were meeting with certain investors and certain regulators from the world. And I recall one of the fintech officers there was saying they did not, or as a first time fintech, it exceeded their expectation. Today we have registration and attendees more than 40,000. The booths are coming from all over the world.
60,000.
Sorry.
More than 60,000.
More than 60,000, yeah. And we have fintech booths from coming all over the world. Myself and my colleagues, we have met investors from all over the world as well, and we were asking them, what are you doing here? They were saying, we're looking for investments. And this leads me to the other phase of my answer. Today, the value of venture investments in the fintech sphere within Saudi Arabia have exceeded 7.1 billion approximately. And this tells you the interest in the market. Sirina, and this adds also to another aspect of the answer. I'm sure all of the attendees that came from the world and they were looking around, Saudi Arabia has a very young, talented youth generation.
Yes.
And that youth generation is driven by vision, is driven by knowledge, is driven by education, and this is the future for them. And I'm sure you can see it all over this conference. And back to your question, and this is the answer of the private sector. Today, as I was saying, we have moved to a sectoral financial sector. So many don't know, actually the central bank used to regulate both sides of the practice. When we were discussing within our committee, the insurance, for example, it was actually the central bank who flagged that there is a challenge. Maybe we should bring an insurance regulator and spin it off out of the central bank to enable and push that agenda. And this is why today we have 3 amazing regulators on the financial sector. The role of the FSTP committee overall is an overarching umbrella that enables the national agenda. It ensures that the regulators, so of course, in any financial sector in the world, insurance or prudential and conduct, central bank, capital markets, each of them has, and this is the case in Saudi Arabia, each of them has its own independence. However, the role of the financial sector development program is to ensure that there is coherence. It is to ensure that the regulators are talking to each other. It is to ensure that we are actually driving behind the national agenda. And as well as what Yazid has said, it is to ensure that our AML status is there, our cybersecurity is there. So as much as we push that agenda, as much as we enable the market on 3 multiple divisions with the market, we as well are very rigid when it comes to our regulations. And this is one of the things that the committee is doing. We ensure the collaboration is there, we listen to each and every one of the regulators, and we recommend solutions. If you see within the past couple of years, Now each of the regulator has their own fintech lab. The central bank has announced the open banking. We have more than 200 fintech companies. We are thinking today, and we're discussing what is the actual number that should be in 2030. Is it 525? Is it more? Is it, should we actually measure it in a different way? Is it employment? The employment in the insurance today is more than 5,000.
Yes.
And this is another thing of the equation. Of course, I think there are two things that the FSDP is doing. Definitely funds, as I have said. We look to attract more FDIs, real FDIs in this promising sector. And as Yazid has said, as much as we are investing in regulatory bodies, as much as we will match that investment in cybersecurity and AML status within the kingdom abroad.
Just one more point on collaboration and the importance of it. The collaboration started even before the National FinTech Strategy, right?
Indeed.
So we've been working with the FSDP. We've launched FinTech Saudi in 2018 with our colleagues in CMA, and of course our colleagues in Insurance Authority are joining us in this important initiative. There is a catalyst to support. The market I know is back in 2018. So the collaboration is done at a national level and even at an international level. At least when it comes to SAMA, we've been working with the Bank of International Settlement. We've been working with other central bank. Actually, one of my colleagues here is seconded to Bank of International Settlement in Hong Kong, and in a quite technical AI-focused applications and very specific projects. So collaboration amongst regulators, whether locally or internationally, is key to ensure that the success of any innovation agenda. That's number one. And number two, given the nature of financial sector, the visibility and the clarity of the regulators and the accessibility of regulators is very important to ensure the success and also to give the certainty needed for the sector to invest and to scale up in a way that it preserves the main objectives that we all, stability from our end, and that it's one of the key pillars even in the FSDP.
Agreed. I mean, to drive success or to foster education, to learn from others, so lesson learned is also important. Thank you. And actually, to stay on collaboration and main vertical that the central bank look after we have seen that Saudi payments has been incorporated within SAMA, is now a deputyship within SAMA. So I would ask you, like, really, how do you see the evolution of digital payments? A cashless society is one of the main objectives of the Vision 2030. We had an objective initially established for 70% cashless society by 2030, has been anticipated to 2025, has been achieved 2 years in advance. So congratulations again. And I think open banking phase 2 that has been announced yesterday is also a form of collaboration between public sector and private sector that fits into the payment overarching agenda.
Yes.
What is going on?
Okay, so 70%, it was mentioned by Faisal, mentioned by His Excellency, the Minister of Finance yesterday, but also even if you dig a little bit deeper, we've launched the NFT, not NFT,
NFC.
NFC, so
Yes.
NFT is different. so the NFC,
Yes.
the level of adoption, when it comes, we launched it in plastic card in 2016, and today, more than 95% of all digital transactions are done using NFC.
Yes.
And around 57% of them are using mobile phones. So we've been evolving even further in how can you simplify the offering and the payment solutions. The soft POS that enables SMEs to offer direct POS point of sales without having to buy those terminals. And of course, Saudi payment has always been part of SAMA, and now it's literally within SAMA. And the development continues. You've referred to the open banking, the payment initiation standards. That was this service is key milestone in the open banking journey. While we're still in a experimental phase, we're still implementing. We believe that it will deliver, it will increase the efficiency of both at a retail level and at a SME corporate level significantly, and contribute to overall enhancement of financial well-being and increase financial inclusion. So we believe that the trend in payments continues. We're exploring also how can we invest in blockchain? How can we leverage it for cross-border settlement? We're part of Enbridge. And we're building even those alternative payment infrastructure with the concept of resilience, safety, trust, and interoperability to eliminate any potential fragmentation in the payment system.
Thank you. I think Saudi Arabia is one of the most efficient payment systems globally. Just out of curiosity, NFC, meaning the payments we do with the phone, have for the first time this year surpassed credit cards volume. Yes. So that's really like how to make our life easier.
And yesterday we launched Samsung Pay, so and more to come. Apple Pay, and Meta Pay, and more to come.
Thank you, thank you. Very, very exciting, very exciting journey. Mr. bin Ghannam, maybe if we look at collaboration between different regulatory authorities, what are some examples of actually successful collaboration story and successful initiative that the CMA has collaborated on with other authorities?
Of course. And before I get into the examples, let me add to what my esteemed colleagues mentioned about the collaboration. I want to add probably two very important benefits of having the collaboration through the right platforms, mainly FSDP in Saudi Arabia. One, coherence. Second is prediction. Coherence, when we have a coherent regulatory landscape, it helps in increasing predictability for the participants, visibility, and also it avoids having room for regulatory arbitrage which might compromise the credibility or the confidence at the sector, because part of our role is not only to enable but also to protect the confidence in the sector. So having the coherence increases the attractiveness and de-risks the investment for participants, and at the same time ensures the maintenance of confidence. Second, having the same outlook, consistent vision to the future, helps all regulators to be proactive in adopting the new trends together and getting ready for them, and at the same time benefiting the participants in the sectors. One of the greatest examples that we have is Fintech Saudi. Fintech Saudi is established by the collaboration between SAMA and CMA, and it helps in mentoring, coaching, guiding participants, and not only that, but also providing resources. And Meccan program is one of the programs that is quite generous to participants. Meccan means enable in English. So without that collaboration, we wouldn't have what we have today, including this great conference. And without it, we will not achieve the aspiration that we have.
Thank you, thank you. And Dr. Al-Jemili, we have seen that there are new InsurTech rules that are being issued. How are these actually fostering innovation in the fintech space, and how you are working together with fintech in the InsurTech space as well?
Thank you for the question, Sirina. So I would like to cast on what's been said in the competitiveness report, where Saudi Arabia is getting the highest scores in terms of digital transformation. So I think it's our job at regulators to unleash these capabilities and collaboration with the private sector to make the consumers feel this digital transformation and improve their customer satisfaction. This is one aspect of it. The second aspect would be, to the point of investments, is attracting investors from all of the globe by, enhancing that transparency. I think our system is well known by being robust and transparent. So we'd like also to adopt these concepts and targets within the insurance market. And I think that would also help introducing new things, you know, what some believe they think it's a high risk, like AI, blockchain, and this kind of technology. And I believe personally that blockchain, when it's linked to payment systems, this is where blockchain gets the highest value in the market. So I believe, we have a lot of, work ahead of us as insurance authority. But having this ecosystem and this enablement would also help us getting our targets done, inshallah.
Thank you all, Your Excellencies, our esteemed panelists. I think what we are assisting at today is really a tremendous growth in the fintech space in Saudi Arabia. Again, Saudi Arabia leading by examples not only in the region but at global level, achieving results. We have mentioned the competitiveness index. I remember a few years ago where Saudi Arabia was, so great achievement as well there in really fostering this positioning. And I would like to close this round and this panel with your view on what should we look forward, what should we expect in the next 12 months? What are you excited about that is going to happen in the next 12 months?
So I think we've heard a lot from our colleagues within the regulatory framework of Saudi Arabia, but I'll put it in a different context. Saudi Arabia is one of the largest in terms of population within the region, as well as the size of economy. It's a G20 country. We have been seeing the Saudi economy growing by good growth, whether it's within the IMF, World Bank reports, or even facts year over year. We are determined to be a leading fintech hub for the world. We are determined to continue uplifting our financial sector, whether it's the fintech or any other sector within the financial sector. We are determined to continue upskilling our talent in that front. And with our amazing 3 regulators, we think that the future is bright, as I have said, and as Yazid mentioned. We continue revising and reviewing our plans. We look for the North Star. Our plans is definitely to continue growing that ecosystem to hopefully foster local as well as international investments within that fintech.
Very quickly, I know that we're running out of time. However, what makes us excited, number one, is building on this current momentum we're seeing. We're seeing a level of maturing fintech sector. Yesterday, it's a landmark deal between Kuwait and Tabi was announced, where now those single entity products are further developing. We're also investing in collaboration with the overall ecosystem in uplifting the infrastructure to reduce the cost for compliance by launching programs like Meccan, which is enablement. And also we're currently working on banking as a service framework that will further streamline the collaboration between banks and fintechs. We have a couple of digital banks that are going live very soon. One of them is sitting in front of us. And the other one we heard from this morning, and we expect that they further deliver on advancing the overall fintech and innovation agenda. So there are a lot of exciting things, and in addition to current experimentation and the ongoing project that we're doing, whether it's internally or with international counterpart or amongst this great gang that I've been working with for the last few years.
And if I may add to what Yazid mentioned to your question, Sirina, today we have more than 200 fintech companies licensed in Saudi Arabia. It is 68% CAGR over the last 5 years. These companies are characterized by 3 things: startups, B2C, and greenfield. Of course, the target is to take them 525, and most of it is coming from the government support and initiatives, but also there is the organic development. And we believe we expect new patterns in the penetration by the incumbents and by the development more in the B2B business cases be it RegTech, and also the complementing services between the participants. And also, we might see some indirect penetration by incumbents or the consolidation between businesses by M&As or partnerships. So this is going to add, of course, the complexity and the interconnectivity, and also it will create more opportunities for use of data to create tailored products and serve wider client range.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sireen. So I would like to summarize in 3 key points. First of them is providing entrepreneurs and investors with access to technology, infrastructure, and data. Second one is access to the market, because access to the market is also equivalently important to them. And the third one is access to finance and subsidies if necessary. And I think these 3 points, once we work within would unleash, the insurance sector, within them to, achieve our targets by doubling the GDP contribution of the insurance market within the kingdom, inshallah, in the coming years.
Inshallah. And well, I think the strategies, the collaboration effort, this magic gang, as we have defined it, are really like those forces that sustain momentum, fintech momentum in Saudi Arabia. This is the place to be and the time to be. So I look forward, and I'm sure the audience join me, looking forward to celebrate new success at the next 24 FinTech conference. And thank you all for hosting us.
Thank you.
Thank you.